Good evening. I think we're
Good
slowly
evening.
but surely populating across the World Wide Web. Why don't
The
people call it
internet,
that anymore? I really like that when it was called the World Wide Web.
that's what it is. It is a web. When you look at a network diagram, man, it is a web, ethereal web of information and electrons going,
Oh,
alive
hey,
and alive, man.
buddy. You are taller than the table that I have my computer on, bud. Come here, buddy. You want to come on camera? Come on up. Jose, say hi to everybody.
Jose checking in.
Absolutely.
You got Jim from New Jersey checking in. So it's the last war of the year. War. We are resilient. We are war.
Yeah,
I'm getting my
2023. We're about to, put a pin in it and say, thanks for coming. See you never.
right. This is the end and the beginning. I mean, this time last year, excuse me, we were just, kind of just, could we even do this? We've been doing this almost a year, man. February makes a year. So, I guess with the time we have, what do you think about this so far? What's war done for you this year, Mikey?
Oh, for me, it's been great. Chance to learn about different nonprofits, go out there and see what our community is doing, and having different folks on. Like, I really feel like we had the gamut of like guests this year, like from people using their creativity, people using their willingness to give to others, folks getting inspired. Project New Hope, for example. He went out and saw what it was doing and brought it back to here. Like it's just really been awesome to hear the stories of how vets have overcome and how supporters have what they're doing for our community.
Well, I just like what's come of that. We've had Patrick Arabi from the DAV on. We've had Bill. We've had Adam Gunn. On from the VSO. There's more and more people coming on locally, and then it's also the national connection. People are like, hey, contagion effect out of California checking in. We got Mike Peterson from the People's Patriot Project checking in, and so I think it goes back to what we wanted to do. We wanted to get this message out there and let people know that, hey, there's help out there. So it's really cool to see this come together, and it's really cool to see you, like, getting into doing the streams now. You got the background fired up and all the graphics, man. That's not really my jam, but you're crushing it, dude. I love. Oh, I love seeing this happen this way. So all good stuff.
Yeah, no, I just once I finally got off my butt and signed up for the membership, and try to go the cheap and easy way for the long run. And I was like, $10 a month really isn't that bad. So, and I mean, look, it just to me like the visual is what I enjoy. It's why Hellfish Haven's always got an updated look. And why we try to keep things going and push stuff out for folks. Because like for me, I'm a visual learner. I learn by seeing. So like
Sure.
that's why like I try to like when I put out information for folks, like whether it's like mindfulness or like something that they need to know, I try to do it on like an infographic and like have like a little bit of words, little pictures. That way it kind of sticks with you.
I love it. I love it.
How was your holiday?
Man, it was good. It was good. Too brief. Things didn't quite work out all the way they should, but that's part of the game, right? Um, but overall, really really grateful and really excited about the new year, and thinking that man, time flies. Time flies. So
We did our DAV Louisville holiday party. Jose, you don't need any popcorn, buddy. Hey, come on. Stay right there. Sorry, just had to make sure you didn't get into the goods. Those big
oh,
tins of popcorn, the big one, like metal ones.
oh yeah, yeah.
So my daughter the other night figured out if she slams it on the ground, the lid will pop open.
Oh,
So she was like, jackpot. And all of a sudden, all the caramel popcorn was everywhere. It was like, oh boy. And so he's trying to see if there's any remnants of that over there. And like,
nice.
buddy, she's not going to leave any of that behind. She made sure to eat that all up. But yeah, the DAV party was on Saturday. We had folks up in Lowell, uh, just trying to reestablish that chapter. And it's tough because we don't have all the tools yet for it. They have people that are still attached to the old accounts and things like that. So like we're trying to do what we can do here. We got a KO checking in,
Yep.
and we got we're trying to rebuild it, but we don't have the means yet to do it. So it's tough to establish everything. We're trying to get people's email addresses and things like that, trying to connect with the services that are in Lowell, so that way we can find veterans where they are again and let them know that the DAV is there for them.
Nice, 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 nice. Um, so going to 2024, man, what do you want to see happen for Hellfish Haven?
Haven, I want to get us back in a physical location. I gave myself the 1 year from the time we left Brighton Marine to the time that I want to be back into a new location. I figured the year would give me the time to, basically replenish the stock, set things up, and come up with a couple of ideas. Like the ammo can of hope, doing the game nights with folks, setting up, coffee and chess for different posts, and getting that set up, because that's really been one thing that we've seen working out really well is these coffee socials, and the whether it's a post or whether it's a town doing it, it's really getting veterans out there. So we want to make sure that we continue that and grow that in 2024, and we're letting folks know that we've got a metric shit ton of chessboards that we can come out, set up, and hang out and play chess and have guys just not come drink coffee and bounce.
Nice, nice. Got Jimmy James checking in from Colorado. Jimmy, how are you doing, brother? So
Barry's here tonight too. He's doing well.
yeah, I got Barry. We got KO. This is cool, man. Jim from New Jersey checking in. KO from LinkedIn. Love it, love it, love it. Let me bounce something off you, man. That I don't know if you were aware, but I'm in this nonprofit called "I Got Your 6'2" Lives at Once," and what we
Mhm.
do is we train. We're training PTSD service dogs, not emotional support, not comfort animals, but service dogs for veterans. And that was our main focus. But what started happening was we started noticing that a lot of people in law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders, like EMTs and nurses, were like, I struggle with PTSD and accumulated PTSD, right? It'd be nice if I could have a dog. And we thought about it, and we made the change to veterans are the priority, right? But if you're a firefighter or a law enforcement, and you need a service dog, we're gonna put one there for you. I just want to know what you thought about that, versus just focusing strictly on veterans.
I think that's awesome because I do feel like the two communities do overlap.
Yeah,
There's a lot of similarities. What an EMT can run into is the same as a corpsman. Same thing as you got your law enforcement versus your MPs. And it's like we have the same thing. It's just a different uniform. So it's like I feel like that'll be good for you guys, and also will allow you to work with a bigger population. Where like you're not strictly pigeon-toed to just veterans, where you can help the first responder community as well. I feel like Massachusetts does have a lot of vets, but I feel like adding that, you probably double or triple the community that you could support.
well, that's what we noticed, man, is right off the bat, it's like, hey, I know this guy, and I think the thing that some of the police officers told me, and some of the firefighters too, is that we talked to, is, and this is the truth, right? That they have to see trauma and human beings in their lowest condition almost every day, some of them, and it's hard to unpack and deal with at the end of the day, and not bring that home into parenting and their relationships and other things, right? So I'm not saying that we military people don't experience PTSD and horrific things, but I can't imagine having to see it like every day, right? I think that's where it's different. And then a lot of veterans are you know law enforcement firefighters too. So it just seemed to make sense to us. Jimmy James checking in. Sacred Mountain Retreat has a pup program. Well, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Jimmy. So more to
Maybe,
follow on that. We'll get Amber Smith, who founded the program, on War one night, Mike, to talk to you about it.
that'd be
She,
awesome too.
yeah,
Because
really
the other thing too that I was thinking too is like, when you open it up to, the first responders, does that include, corrections officers, things like that too? Because those guys are dealing with the worst of the worst all the time.
all the time, man, all the time. It's not even funny.
I know my friend's dad, he was a corrections officer, and was like, he's like, if you guys try to get this job, he's like, I'm not gonna let you. He's like, it's put me through 2 marriages, all of this. He's like, nope. He's like, don't do it.
Nice. Yeah, so that's something going on. I think you'll hear more about it and see more about it. We're trying to, not focus on the emotional support or comfort side. So, one thing I'm learning is to get to a service dog, there's a lot more involved. I mean, you can't give out, 5 service dogs a month unless you're a really big organization. We might give out 1 or 2 this year, but that dog's going to be trained and ready to go. So,
Yeah. If you
it's a
guys
different.
need any like ideas and things like that from it too, like going through it with Jose, I did an 18-month program, so any knowledge I can share with you guys, I'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, we'll get Amber on to talk to you. We'll get her on War and maybe get the year start off that way. It'd be really good. So cool, 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 cool. Well, on Oscar Mike Radio tonight, at 8 o'clock, I have Audrey McHugh. She's a Navy veteran, and man, I've talked to some MST survivors, male and female, on Oscar Mike Radio,
Hmm.
but this by far, man, her story tonight was like, wow. Um, Really, what happened to her and how she was treated was just unbelievable. But then
It's
you see
it's
the.
definitely one of those things that there definitely needs more change to happen because even just you still see it today with the disappearance of the female soldiers, and the way that things are swept under the rug by commanders. It needs to be taken out of the chain of command's hand and put into the hands of those that can properly investigate and properly protect our people.
So that's going on tonight at 8 o'clock, and then for me, man, it's just trying to do a couple things to get better at what I do with Oscar Mike Radio. Figure out ways to serve where the need is and understand where the need is. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, where is the need, and
Mhm.
understand and help people understand that, hey, we have all these programs, we have all these resources, but there's still people that need help and people that are going to run into situations, and there's gaps, unfortunately, in the VA system, whether
Yeah.
it's turnaround in time or whatever that need to be filled.
I know housing's a big one. I'd like to get some housing specialists on this year too, if we can, to talk about like the different housing programs that are out there. Like the one that I'm a part of right now is helping me be able to relocate. They'll help us with the security deposit, so that way we're not, putting up like 9 grand up front with first, last, and security, just to be able to relocate. And like then they'll also help us, do the process, and like they go and check out the place to make sure we're not getting a spot that's going to be bad for us. And like that's through Volunteers of America. And I wouldn't have known about it. Patrick, the commander of the little chapter DAV, he's the one that turned me on to these guys. And like I actually knew about the organization from when I stayed at the homeless shelter in Somerville. But they're just different branches of the same organization that just do so much different stuff.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't know how, if you're between the ages of 19 and 27, you can afford to get an apartment or a house in this state. It's going to become a problem if something doesn't change.
And it's wild too because like so there's like the fair market price that I've been learning about because like that's all that they'll help you with like for this program. And like a town like Mansfield, for instance, like because of where they're located, they're considered part of Providence, and the cost of living in Providence is lower than the cost of living in Boston. So like the fair share for an apartment for Mansfield is only like 18 or 1900 for a 2 bedroom. But if you look online, everywhere for a 2 bedroom in Mansfield is 26 to 3200. And it's just like it's unbelievable. Like, how is somebody gonna get an apartment by themselves, at this point, or be able to grow?
It's like Charlie Nicole is checking in.
Yep. Charlie's a VSO. I'm not even gonna try that last name, Charlie, but Claire, with Massachusetts Executive Office of Veteran Services, is the state housing guru for any and everything veteran.
Let
All
me
right,
try
we
saying
will
that.
reach
I,
out to her then.
I'm gonna try saying her name, Mikey, and let's see if we get it right.
Okay.
It's Claire Macarini Colas. Did I
Is that
get that right? Or did I butcher that? Macarini Colas. We'll see.
all right?
That's as close as I can get it. Oh, Macrina Colas.
Yeah.
I tried, Charlie. I tried. Yeah. I'm not Greek. I work with a couple though.
My buddy Noah, his ex-wife was Karen Thanalopoulos, and she had a hyphen last name. He was Amatucci. So when she had her name tape, it said Amatucci Karen Thanalopoulos, like hyphen, and it was like the smallest text I'd ever seen on a name tape in my life. It's just you used to seeing like the big bold letters on a uniform, and then you just see this little tiny one, and it's like it's 38 letters. And it's like that's a lot.
So well, yeah, but I mean, what are you supposed to do, man? If you get out of the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even with your in the service payments and stuff like that, and you gotta come to this state and try to settle down and okay, you need between 9 and 12,000 for a decent apartment or home. Forget renting a house.
Yep.
Or if you want to if you want to buy a home, I mean, forget it. You're not VA loan. I've had more than one realtor tell me they won't almost even work with people who want to use their VA loan. It's not worth it to them.
Because that point inspection, I want to say doesn't. I think Mass has a program too, like a Heroes um, housing program. I'm not 100% on that, but we'll definitely get back on folks on that one. And we definitely reach out to Claire though and see what we can find out about the housing situation.
Bash vouchers. There's a couple of things. Huh.
So the VASH voucher, that's what I had when I left the homeless shelter. And they had told me that I shouldn't have come off it, even though the person that was working with me had me come off the program to move in with my wife. And they said that I should have stayed on it. And so that's one of the things that like you have to be homeless for 6 months to even qualify for it. And like the definition of homeless, like you have to be in a shelter or on the street. Like if you're couch surfing, they don't consider that to be homeless for these programs. And it's like it's just unbelievable, like the stuff that they make people go through in order to show it. And like at least now they're accepting, you know, on the verge of homelessness as a reason to be able to help folks now too. Because it's really shitty that you make somebody you know become rock bottom before you help them.
It's the rules need to be updated, but I don't know what the long term solution is between the shortage of housing. You have investment groups going up and buying up houses to rent out, and then knowing they can stick you with a higher rent charge per month. Every place around here raised their rents a lot because they could. I'm a
Yeah,
capitalist. I'm not for rent control, but I mean, when's it stop? I mean, there's only so much blood in the turnip.
yeah. The real tough part for me is like, you know, I watched some of these rents go from 1900 to, to 28 in the last 2 years,
Yeah.
and nothing of that apartment has changed. Nothing's been improved. There's no, say, you have, improved services for, garbage disposal, or, you have improved services for, your heat, getting, updated pipes, going from oil to, natural gas, something like that, would make sense to update the rent. But when nothing's changed, and you're getting that much of a whack, it just really sucks.
Well, I think it's what happened to a lot of people is it wasn't the fact that rent went up. I mean, you kind of expect some increase, but it jumped 25, 30, 40%, and there's been, you know, no changes in the environment, no upgrades to anything, nothing. And it's like, well, what cost are you incurring to have me stay at your place that it justifies that kind of thing? And I think some politicians are aware of what's going on. I think Massachusetts is number three in terms of overall cost of living in real estate. And I think the Boston area is the number one, well, after San Fran and New York. Yeah, right there with the rents for a one bedroom apartment. It's nuts. And it can't continue like this if you want to keep and attract people and stay in this part of the country. And it must be difficult when you're trying to support a family, man. It has to.
And like that's the big thing that like we look at is like if you're like even folks that are 100%, that's just enough to cover rent now. You know, before if you had 100%, you were able to cover your rent and have a little extra, so you could do a part time job instead of having to go full time at it. And now it's to the point where folks are are 100%, and they're still having to to do a side hustle. And it's like these folks have given a lot to be to 100%, and of their body and everything. And it's just how much more are we expecting of somebody before they can't give any more.
Yeah, like what Troy said there. The Salvation Army has funds, and she talked about the VSOs being able to write vouchers. Um, yeah, it is hard to find. Absolutely.
And it's definitely one of those things that it's got to come to a head somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that they were fighting back too against the whole Airbnb thing, because that was taking up a lot of housing that could have been used for people.
Man, that was a real trip reading about that out in California, New York. How when they shut down the Airbnbs in New York City, how all of a sudden, the whole real estate market changed overnight. I just didn't realize that many people were buying homes to rent out. I'm like, it must be nice. But it's reduced the supply to a constant demand, and so the prices are the price. Then you add the
Mhm.
interest rates. It's crazy. I'm not saying we're trying to solve the problem, but it can be challenging for anybody. It's not just veterans anymore, and so I don't know what the answer is. The answer is so.
And the
Um,
other tough thing too is when you find a place, even though Jose is a service dog and he's considered a medical device, people still will look at us applying and say oh, it's a dog, we don't want to have a dog here. And so that also affects trying to find a place,
oh,
even though
absolutely.
legally they're not supposed to. But they can claim that they're somebody else found the apartment or whatever, and I'll never know.
Right, right. I mean, you're just uh, the deck is stacked. The deck is stacked against you for certain. Well, I gotta get ready for OMR, Mikey, and
Absolutely.
we'll pick it up next year. See about getting Amber on to talk with you about her organization. But
Yeah, that'd be
it's great
awesome.
seeing you. Everything else is going fine, and you know,
We'll
I,
have our 1 year anniversary come next month too.
yeah, that's right. We did it last week in January when we did our first test stream, and it worked out real well. So
Yeah.
really good. Thank you. Claire, for coming by. Charlie, thanks everybody for checking in. And
Absolutely.
Mike, I will see you later.
All right, everybody have a happy new year. Make sure you guys watch Oscar Mike at 8 o'clock. Check in on YouTube or Facebook. We'll talk to you.